It was a late summer afternoon. The sun rays were coming through the shutters, and I can feel the warmth right here on my cheek. The smell of cloves, nutmeg, and eucalyptus linger around me, reminding me of my grandmother. My elder's voice is guiding the ceremony, and my cousin who just massaged me is now slowly wrapping my torso with a traditional belly bind. Ancestral songs are filling up the room, and I can hear my mom softly humming along while she's holding my newborn baby girl. Next to her are my son and my partner, who are patiently witnessing all that is me. My body, my tears, and my smile. And for the first time since giving birth, I feel myself again. I feel like I've landed back into my body. Au Hurariu Anai. I'm a child of the village Hulaliu, a part of the Maluku Islands in East Indonesia. Through my maternal lineage, I am a descendant of the Amarima Hatuhaha on Haruku Island. And within my culture, the postpartum period is not just a clinical recovery. It is an initiation into motherhood, a rite of passage. Our traditional belly binds are meant to keep a mother's body warm, resting, protecting, and feeling safe. These practices that we implement, we treat the mother's body with heat, with traditional massage, with indigenous plant medicine, nutritious food, community care, ritual, and ceremony. And today I want to share with you 4 principles of the wider Moluccan cosmology that I have related to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. The first one is Gandong, meaning wombs or siblings. Every single person in this room and every single person on earth comes from a womb. And in Maluku, we trace back the wombs to Nunusaku, our tree of life, on Nusa Ina, our mother island, nowadays known as Seram. And among the Nawaulu people on Seram Island, women nearing birth, they move into a separate birth hut called the Pusune. And women in the Pusune tend to each other's needs during menstruation, birth, and 40 days long after birth, guarding and containing each other. The second one is Hekaleka, often described as death and rebirth. A woman after birth is vulnerable for external disturbance while she's undergoing an internal disruption. In Hekaleka, we do not expect stability. We expect rupture. Death, in this case, is not the danger. The danger is not the rupture itself, but rupture without that containment. And the third one is Sasi. Leka, the rebirth, is supported by Sasi, a period of rest. Sasi is actually an indigenous conservation tradition in Maluku and Papua that prohibits the harvesting of natural resources for a set period of time, allowing ecosystems to recover. And coming to this understanding of Sasi, I have realized that all along I wasn't broken. I was just upgrading. And that needed time, rest, and feeling safe for myself to allow Leka to arise, the birth of a new identity. And the fourth and final one is the Tiha, commonly known as Tifa, the traditional drum of Maluku. In Maluku, we consider the drum the heartbeat of our people, and our collective memories lie within these beats and these rhythms. When we hear the Tifa, we feel connected to each other and to our ancestors. And despite the distance, we feel connected to the land and our relatives there. So when a woman after birth feels witnessed and acknowledged, if she feels safe enough to let an identity death unfold, and if she allows herself to rest in order to be reborn with new skills and insights, while she's being contained, supported by her community, her nervous system learns that it is safe to exist. That it is okay to let go of the familiar, to step into this new role as a primary caretaker, because she can mirror the care that she received. I did not get that kind of care when I gave birth to my firstborn. I prematurely gave birth abroad during the pandemic, isolated in lockdown. I would be nursing my baby boy at 3 a.m. with his tiny hand wrapped around my finger. And I would feel so much love for this tiny little human. Even though I was so exhausted. But I couldn't feel full of joy at the same time. I was feeling awful and alone. Scared even. Afraid that someone would take him away from me. I would imagine people knocking on the door, claiming that I wasn't a fit enough mother. My heart would race, and my chest would ache, and I didn't feel inside my body. And for weeks, I would cry myself asleep. In our society, we applaud and we prioritize bouncing back culture and productivity. And in my work as a doula, we emphasize on childbirth education, newborn baby support, and building that village. But the first thing that disappeared from me was my dignity. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Everybody wanted to hold the baby, but no one offered to hold me. And postpartum anxiety and depression consumed me. And maybe it consumed me because deep inside, my body remembered what it means to be truly held. One of the most defining moments in my teenage years was when my maternal grandmother passed away, or the week that she was dying. I was 14 years old, and together with my mom and my aunties and my uncles and cousins, we sat beside her bed for a whole week. Together, we kept her warm. We spoke softly to her, and together we sang ancestral songs together. We held her with all our presence. And at the same time, we were holding each other. We were carrying each other through our grief. Biology shows us that community is just deeply ingrained into human nature. And to visualize that, I would like to take you on a journey. And for that, I want to invite you to close your eyes, sit up straight, feel the ground underneath your feet, and take a deep breath all the way to your belly. Imagine a golden thread coming from your belly button. It goes to your mother. It continues through her, and behind her is another mother, your grandmother. And behind her is another mother. See them as far back as your mind can reach. These are women who carried life, labored, bled, and survived. Now, if you're a woman, imagine turning 180 degrees and continuing the thread forward. If you have a daughter, imagine her. If you do not, imagine the possibility of her. And see how far this thread can continue. When a woman is pregnant with a girl, she carries herself, her daughter, and the tiny egg cells that could one day become her grandchild. You can now open your eyes again. 3 generations living inside a single body. A woman after birth gets exactly 1 checkup 6 weeks after birth, while her body expanded for 9 months. The wound in her uterus is the size of a dinner plate, and she's bleeding 4 to 6 weeks straight. Are we really wondering why 1 out of 5 mothers are diagnosed with a postpartum mood disorder? Instead of pathologizing women, why can't we see and look at how we have normalized leaving new mothers alone? And that we have just accepted that they did get this lack of care. And that is not even the full picture. Because during pregnancy, a woman's brain restructures. Not metaphorically, no, structurally. And to describe this process, anthropologist Dana Raphael, she coined the word matrescence in the 70s. And to this day, this word is still not in all of our dictionaries. But long before that, indigenous communities already knew this transformation. And they implemented and designed these practices with generations and systematic data and testing. So let's give credit where credit is due. I personally like to call it AI for mothers, ancestral intelligence for mothers. Central America and South America have La Cuarentena. Indonesia and Malaysia have Berpantang, which lasts 40 to 100 days of daily care. Different rituals, different languages, but all with the same understanding that human beings are not supposed to transform alone. Many people say that they want the village, but let me ask you, are you ready to be a villager? Are you willing to commit to holding a person in their most vulnerable state, knowing and trusting that one day you will receive the same from them when they have the capacity? So think about a mother or a pregnant woman in your community. What can you do for her instantly without her having to ask you? I would say start with holding her. And if you don't have a belly bind, then do your best to become one. For my daughter, for your daughter, and for all daughters to come. Thank you.